The rain tasted like ash on Mr. Harding's tongue. Crestwood Mansion loomed, a monument to faded grandeur and secrets better left buried. Lila Monroe, draped in black silk, received him at the massive oak doors. Her fragility felt rehearsed. "Mr. Harding," she murmured, her voice a breathy tremor. "Thank you for coming." The pain in his ribs screamed with each step across the Persian road, a constant reminder of his recent, unwelcome encounter with a disgruntled gambler. Still, he focused on the woman before him, searching for a crack in her carefully constructed facade. "Mrs. Monroe," he replied, keeping his voice even, "I understand you wish to discuss your husband's disappearance." Arthur vanished," she repeated, dabbing at her eyes with a lace handkerchief. "One moment he was here, talking about a transaction. The next he was gone, like smoke." Edward Blackwood, impeccably suited and radiating an unsettling calm, materialized from the shadows. "My dear Lila shouldn't be subjected to this distress. Mr. Harding, I trust you're making progress." Harding ignored the question, focusing on Lila. He mentioned the transaction. "With whom?" He was dealing in antiquities. Egyptian statuettes, I believe. A collector was involved." Her gaze flickered away. "The collector? Do you know his name?" She hesitated. "No. Arthur rarely spoke of his business dealings. It was a delicate matter." Blackwood stepped forward. "These are sensitive issues, Mr. Harding. Perhaps you should leave Mrs. Monroe to grieve." "Grieving doesn't explain the statuettes, Mr. Blackwood." Harding's eyes narrowed. "Or the locked room at the docks." "Locked room?" Lila's hand trembled, spilling tea onto the pristine tablecloth. "Warehouse number 7, Harding clarified. "Last known location of Arthur Monroe. Foreman Sal DeMarco wasn't exactly forthcoming." "Sal's a simple man," Blackwood said smoothly. "He likely heard nothing." Harding wasn't convinced. He was protecting someone. "Nonsense." Blackwood's smile didn't reach his eyes. "I've handled this family's affairs for years. Assure you, everything is under control." "Everything?" Harding raised an eyebrow. "Including the hieroglyphic locket found clutched in Arthur's hand." Lila gasped, her face draining of color. Blackwood's jaw tightened. "What locket?" Lila whispered. "It contained a portrait," Harding pressed, "resembling you, Mrs. Monroe." Lila's silence stretched, vacant, suffocating. Blackwood stepped between them, his voice a low growl. "Mr. Harding, I must insist you leave. Now." Harding ignored him, turning back to Lila. "The inscription on the locket was faded, but I believe it read Auset." Lila's eyes widened, reflecting a flicker of something akin to fear. "Please, Mr. Harding," she pleaded, her voice barely audible. "You need to stop. You don't understand what you're dealing with." "I understand enough to know you're hiding something, Mrs. Monroe." He paused, letting his gaze linger on her. "Something dangerous. Please leave, before it's too late." He turned to Blackwood. "You're his friend, aren't you? The collector's friend." Blackwood's smile vanished. "You're treading on thin ice, Mr. Harding. Then maybe you should step back from the water's edge." He took a card from his pocket and offered it to Lila. "Call me if you remember anything. Anything at all." As he turned to leave, Lila's voice stopped him. "Mr. Harding, be careful. He's always watching." Harding stepped out into the rain. The mansion receding into the gloom. He pulled out a cigarette, the flame momentarily illuminating his face. The rain washed over him, carrying the scent of secrets and lies. Back at his office, he stared at a photograph taped to his wall. A woman with fiery red hair and laughing eyes. Beneath it, a single word not hers. He took a long drag, the nicotine a brief respite from the weight of the case. He knew Lila Monroe wasn't telling the whole truth, and he suspected that whatever Arthur Monroe had been involved in, it was far more complicated and far more dangerous than he could possibly imagine. He also knew, with a certainty that chilled him to the bone, that he was being watched. He glanced at the window, then back at the photo, the city lights reflecting in his eyes. He had a feeling that the shadows were closing in. He needed to find out who she was in the inscription, and what connection she had to the Monroe family. The case was just beginning, and he had a distinct impression that he was playing right into someone else's game. The memory of Lila's warning echoed in his mind, a silent promise of trouble to come.